Another part of our culture, we have our own food. It's called a ham smoke. Let me hear you say ham smoke. It's a hybrid between a hot dog and a Polish sausage. It's turkey and pork, and one bite is very, very fulfilling. Then we have a thing called mumbo sauce. Let me hear you say mumbo sauce. I don't know what's in it, but I put it on everything. Pennsylvania Avenue Southeast looks nothing like the White House. Now, you guys, we are on our way to the north side of the White House. But before we get there, we are on a presidential inaugural parade route to the left-hand side, Washington, D.C.'s local government headquarters, the John A. Wilson Building, the executive office of the Mayoral Council of the District of Columbia. Now, we got a thing called home rule. Let me hear y'all say home rule. Home rule. Have avenues in Washington, D.C. One is California. Anybody from California? Okay, good. The other state is round on the outside and high in the middle. What state is that? You get it? Ohio. Round on the outside, high in the middle. Come on, people. All right, now, if you look to your left-hand side, there's a man on a horse. If you see him, say aye. That is William Tecumseh Sherman. William Tecumseh Sherman led the Grand Review right here on Pennsylvania Avenue, the largest parade to ever occur in this area. He was also responsible for defeating the Confederate Army in the South, burning Atlanta to the sea. On the left-hand side again is Alexander Hamilton, the first Secretary of Treasury. This building here is the Department of Treasury, ladies and gentlemen. It's the first building to obstruct the view between the White House and the U.S. Capitol. See, money is always in the way of things. It's the oldest savings and trust in Washington, D.C. Now, since we're headed to the north side of the White House, I might as well tell y'all about the craziest party that George Washington never had. Now, the White House was designed by a man named James Hoban from Ireland. Its design originates from the Leinster House in Ireland. 35 bathrooms, you can't use none of them. 28 fireplaces, 8 staircases, 3 kitchens, and 3 elevators. 6 floors, 2 above ground that we're about to see, and then 4 underneath, including the bunker. When you move into the White House, you can do whatever you want to it. Michelle Obama had a vegetable garden put in place so she could grow her favorite vegetable, broccoli. Woodrow Wilson had sheep herding because he was a bad president. The right David Eisenhower had a putting golf. He banned the squirrels from the White House grounds because they were getting in the way of his game. True story. We're about to be at the north side of the White House where you'll see a statue of Andrew Jackson, old Hickory King Bob.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Jackson. Now, this is the first equestrian statue in Washington, D.C. Now, there is a rule or an urban myth to men on horses. They don't apply to this statue because he's the first. But if you see a man on a horse and all 4 hooves are on the ground, that man died of natural causes, nothing to do with war. If you see a man on a horse and 1 hoof is up, he was shot on the battlefield and died off the battlefield. 2 hooves up means he was shot and killed on the battlefield. If all 4 hooves are off the ground, you, my friend, are on a merry-go-round. Not that big, and I'm wondering where you live. The White House is sitting on 67,000 square feet. 19 acres. That flag up top does not mean that the president is home. If you want to know what the president is doing, just Google President's Public Schedule. He's actually out of town right now. Welcome to my house. You guys can go as far as the gate. Enjoy yourselves. Just don't get put in the pool now.
Again, very loudly playing.
Second century French Empire. This painting held up with 900 columns, 556 rooms on the inside, 1,300 doors. Hide and go seek, I win. If I was the president, that's where I'd live, but it houses the office of the Attorney General and the Vice President. No, the Vice President does not live there. The Vice President lives on Massachusetts Avenue at the Naval Observatory. Massachusetts Avenue is actually the longest avenue in Washington, D.C. It goes all the way from southeast all the way over to where the Vice President lives in Northwest. If you see, it says victory, a representation of the 1st Division of the United States Army. Sorry, I had to do it, I couldn't help it. To your right hand side, the Cochran School of Art and Design. I like to come here sometimes. Now, my body was going to the White House, and on your right hand side is the Clara Barton American Red Cross. Clara Barton opened the first public school in the United States of America. Clara Barton had her travels in humanity all around the world and ran into the international Revolution. You can become a member of the National Society of the Daughters of American Revolution. That's a lot of words to say. We just call it the DAR. Okay, move themselves from the DAR. They would eventually plan to throw Marian Anderson a concert on the National Mall in front of the Abraham Lincoln Memorial. People said nobody would come to that. Over 10,000 people showed up to this concert, and it was a beautiful moment. And it was there that the inspiration for the March on Washington was made. We're almost at the World War II Memorial. We're going to cross Constitution Avenue, which is over Asia. The United States would like to have minded our business, but December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor. authentic picture of DC ever. The Declaration of Independence. He also was the president or Secretary of State who went over to France and brought back their culture to the United States of America. He brought back with him some of your favorite dishes. That's you guys, Thomas Jefferson's memorial was dedicated on his birthday, April the 13th, in 1943 by the late great FDR. Now,
all right, here we are, this magical place at the front of Media 5. They all drafted the Declaration of Independence together. From left to right, that's Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Roger Sherman, and Robert Livingston. On the inside, again, will be the Articles of Religious Freedom and the Declaration of Independence. I like this shot because you got the sunset behind Thomas Jefferson right here. Just a heads up, it look crazy. Now, remember I told you, ladies and gentlemen, please visit inside the Thomas Jefferson Memorial and be back to the vehicle by 8:50. 8:50, you guys.
Writing on the wall is like part of.
John Smith. He would be spared by the poet and princess. What was her name? You are on the settings of that story. Now the Potomac River on your left-hand side is the fourth largest river on the East Coast. The Potomac River is where John Quincy Adams was skinny dip every morning before his executive duties. On the other side is Arlington, Virginia.
Do you have any idea what was put in it or no?
I think the I Have a Dream speech is in here. It's not in Library of Congress, the archives, nothing. Here is the time capsule, you guys. 9:15 back at the vehicle.
It's literally, you can't even hear it. That means it's so far.
Everybody's recording me. Why isn't it brighter in the sky? That's some thunderstorms. Big rain. Oh, big one that actually I wonder what type of fish is that?
Virginia. In 2021, it was named the 22nd best place in the country to raise your children. John Wilkes Booth was born 1808. Booth shot Lincoln in a theater and ran to a warehouse. Oswald shot Kennedy from a warehouse and ran to a theater. Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy were both succeeded by men whose last name were Johnson, Lyndon Baines Johnson and Andrew Johnson. They were also Southern Democrats and senators. Lincoln had a secretary whose last name was Kennedy. Kennedy had a secretary whose last name was Lincoln. Kennedy was shot while riding in a Lincoln. We're about to be back in the District of Columbia by way of the George Washington Memorial Parkway. Which direction does the number street head in Washington, D.C.? North and south, that is correct. Yes. Round of applause for this game here.
Stupidest thing you can do is jump in that pool and think you're getting back on our bus over there smelling like that, okay? That is the Washington Monument, standing at 555 feet, 5.185 of an inch. It is the second tallest freestanding structure in the United States of America. 36,000 limestone blocks built this thing. 896 stairs are on the inside. I'm taking the elevator personally. Now, it was finished in 1884 after the Civil War. There's a restaurant on the left-hand side of the Lincoln Memorial. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial is towards those concession stands over there and the lights. Our vehicle will remain.
ever met. This stone lists the numbers of the killed and captured. It says freedom is not.
And Hamilton, we getting sleepy, aren't we? You'll notice why you're here in Washington that DC.
That is where the House of Representatives are. On the opposite side, the trees is kind of covering it, but that's where the Senate is. When the flags are flying, they're working, they're in session. The flags are never flying. The grounds are designed by Frederick Law Olmsted, the same young man who designed Central Park in New York City. There's a man on a horse right here. If you see him, say aye. That is Ulysses S. Grant, our 18th president, and the only president to get a speeding ticket on his horse and buggy in the 1800s. He captured Robert E. Lee. He died of throat cancer as he smoked 20 cigars a day. But he did sit in the lobby of the Willard Intercontinental Hotel near the White House and listen to the wishes and complaints of American citizens. That's where the term lobbyist began. More pictures, you guys, and then we're going to jump back on the bus and head to the U.S. Navy Memorial where the flag speak in Morse code. And on the 4th of July, they say, Happy Birthday, America. Thank you, guys.